Alright guys, today I wanted to make a video about some of the weekend's football action. We'll start off with the Manchester derby. Man United obviously winning 2-1, brilliant result for them. But in this game I thought they were the better side in terms of chances. City definitely didn't create enough chances, especially in the first half. And they just don't look at their best at all at the moment. See, they are having a bit of a blip at the moment this season. Over the past few games, they've obviously dropped points at home to Everton. They've gone out in the EFL Cup to Southampton, which I mean is pretty much unheard of for Man City. And obviously now this losing the Manchester derby. And yeah, they didn't create enough. United had the better chances first half. Rashford on another day could have scored a couple in the first half alone. I think the one where he took it round Ederson, he just needed to be a little bit more composed in that situation. It was poor goalkeeping from Ederson. I don't know what he was thinking that he thought he could get the ball before Rashford in that situation. And yeah, it was some good defending from Kyle Walker on the line to stop it from being 1-0 to United in the first half. And he also had another chance this time. Ederson did quite well actually, but United could have been 1-0 up in the first half, I felt. Second half, City started to dominate, but still weren't creating loads of chances. It was a lot of possession for the first 25 minutes or so in the second half for City, but they did get the breakthrough through Jack Grealish. Good ball by De Bruyne, brilliant play down the right. And Grealish was in the right space at the right time, and I think there wasn't a lot United could do in that situation. They got all the four defenders back. Casemiro's following his man, Fred's following his. I mean, in that situation, the next person in line you can look at is Anthony playing on the right wing, which I mean, it's not really his job to follow a man onto the 6-yard box, is it? So it's just one of them where it's a well-worked move from City, and even in a game like this, they can still produce moments of magic, which most teams can't when they're not playing at their best. But to be fair to United, the fans, and especially the fans, they didn't let their heads drop. The fans kept making loads of noise to I don't know, rile up the players, or not rile up, but you know what I mean, like get the players going sort of thing. And the intensity stayed, and I managed to pull a goal back. Now for this goal, Bruno Fernandes' goal, the equaliser, I thought, to be honest, it shouldn't have counted. Fernandes isn't getting to that ball without Rashford, because Rashford sort of gets in the way of Akanji a little bit, and Akanji probably most likely gets to the ball before Bruno Fernandes in that situation. In fact, he definitely does if Rashford's not there. So I think the fact that Rashford's offside and he's clearly interfered with play because he actually goes towards the ball initially, I don't think this goal should have counted. But Bruno Fernandes finished it excellently, made it 1-1, and then 2 minutes later they were in the lead. Good bit of play from Garnacho down the left, and Rashford in the right place at the right time to finish it. And yeah, it's some of City's, to be honest, City's midfield and attack just weren't good enough in this game. Haaland wasn't involved at all. Bernardo Silva isn't looking like his usual self at the moment, so for the past 2 or 3 months, to be honest, compared to what he was last season especially. He's had a bit of a drop-off this season. But for United, I just looked through their entire starting 11, and bar Anthony Martial, who went off injured at half, well, maybe not injured, but could only last the first half. I think every player in that team gave at least a 6 out of 10. So yeah, it was a really good team performance from Man United. They defended as a team, and Ten Hag's got them playing some good football. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, United have an outside chance at the title this year." I don't think they do. Well, if they have it's definitely a very much so outside chance. We're talking, I don't know, 40-1, I reckon. But I just can't see anyone at the moment other than Arsenal. I think City are more likely to win the league this year than Man United, because City, we've seen in the past, can go on a 20-game winning run. And then in the Saturday evening game, Brentford managed to beat Bournemouth at home in a very scrappy game, to be honest. It was a game of little quality, but one player who I thought did bring a bit of quality to this game was Josh Da Silva in midfield for Brentford. I thought he was brilliant. He set up the second goal magnificently, and just overall looked like he was going to be involved in anything good that Brentford managed to do. But we'll go through the two goals. The first one from Ivan Toney, the penalty. It is really clever from Ivan Toney, but I also feel as though it's to the point where it should possibly even be a free kick the other way, because you can't, wrap your arm around someone else's arm, even if you do it in a way where you're not actually holding onto them with your hand. He literally just locks arms with, I think it was Senesi in defence for Bournemouth, and uses Senesi trying to get back in position as a way of making it look like he's being pulled. And it's really clever from Ivan Toney. Convinces the referee. The VAR doesn't notice it, but for me, I think it should probably be a Bournemouth free kick, because I think in the end, Senesi does actually pull him a little bit with his other arm. So if it wasn't a foul initially, I think you can possibly claim it was a penalty, but I feel as though Toney fouls Senesi before Senesi fouls Toney, if that makes sense. But nonetheless, Toney gets the penalty and buries it. You're never going to back the goalkeeper when Ivan Toney's got a penalty, i.e. he sticks it top corner. And I feel as though this could be his last goal for a while, though, unfortunately, because it doesn't look good for him right now. But Brentford will definitely miss him if he's gone, because he makes a huge difference. Although then again, against Liverpool, Brentford showed, maybe they have got a little bit more up front with Jon Visser and Brian Mbeumo than just Ivan Toney. But Bournemouth in this game, they didn't do a lot really. They had the odd shot. Philip Billing came close on a couple of occasions, but they just don't seem to be the same team without Dominic Solanke up front. I know Solanke doesn't score many goals for them. He maybe scores in the Premier League maybe 5 to 10 goals a season, probably closer to 10 than 5. But the difference he makes when you've got him up front, because he is a target man, he can hold the ball up. He's a different sort of target man though than Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore is purely pump it long, direct to him so he can win the header or control it. Whereas Dominic Solanke, it's a bit more of a case of he can run onto things as well, which gives them a slightly different option. And when they don't have that, you're very reliant on set pieces or coming up against a very poor opponent, in which Brentford aren't. And also, I think another player that they sort of missed in this game was Tavernier in midfield. I think he makes a difference as well. And Bournemouth need to change something, because it looked like for a while that Gary O'Neill had managed to sort of pull them out of the relegation scrap. Well, not pull them out of it, but get them out of the thick of it, if that makes sense. Whereas right now they've been pulled right back into it. I think they're only one place and maybe a point above West Ham. So it's not looking good for them again. They need to change something. I'm not even too sure myself what that something might be. But I just don't think there was one player in this game who really stood out to me. And the fact that Cook went off injured after about half an hour wasn't good for them either. But the second goal by Brentford, brilliant play by Josh Da Silva, and really good finish as well from Matthias Jensen, who I thought had a really good game as well. But I'd give Da Silva my man of the match if I had to give it to anyone. I thought he was brilliant in midfield. And I thought Brentford defended quite well again. I thought Janelt, considering he was playing slightly out of position at left back, I thought he had a really good game. Pinnock too at centre back. I thought they were both brilliant. I just didn't think David Raya was tested enough. And to be honest, Brentford weren't exactly peppering Neto's goal either. Brentford felt very comfortable in this game, in that when they got their lead, they didn't feel the need to, overly attack the Bournemouth goal, because they just felt comfortable with the goal they had, I guess. And then the final game I wanted to cover in this video was Newcastle versus Fulham. A game that had a couple of crazy moments, let's be honest. First half, I thought Newcastle dominated. I think, to be honest, throughout the game, Newcastle were good value for their win. I don't think Fulham did enough. Although I think you could argue that was partly, their plan. Not to get forward too much because of what Newcastle can do on the counter-attack with the intensity of players like Willock, Almiron, Callum Wilson, Sam Maximin when he came off the bench, Joe Linton. And so Fulham just tried to play it smart, tried to just get as many men back as possible. That's why I think Kenny Tete and Layvin Kazava never really went forward. They mostly stayed back. But the couple of Fulham players that did really impress me were actually Harrison Reed in midfield. I thought he did a really good job in making sure that some of Newcastle's midfielders didn't get too much time on the ball. And also I thought the one player who did stretch the Newcastle defence at times was Bobby De Cordova-Reid. He did win the penalty. We'll get onto that now. I didn't think it was a penalty personally. It was a great piece of skill from De Cordova-Reid to get past his man originally. But he doesn't foul Trippier at all. It's a coming together because Trippier is just standing his ground. He's not tripped him, excuse the pun, on purpose, but he's no one really trips anyone in the penalty box on purpose, but he's not intentionally tripped him, and De Cordova-Reid stands on Trippier's foot. So for me, it's nothing given, just play on. Because there's nothing Trippier can do in that situation, really. But the penalty is given, Mitrovic takes it, and it is the right decision. It goes in the back of the net, but it comes off his left foot, not allowed to do that. And there was a Newcastle player, I can't remember who it was, but that was scuffing the turf just before Mitrovic took it. And that's really paid off, that piece of bad sportsmanship. And they say cheats never win, but Newcastle responded well to nearly going behind. They did manage to get the winner in the end through the substitute Alexander Isak, which was a really nice goal for him on his return to football after a few months out. Obviously Newcastle's big summer signing, and really well taken goal as well. Not by him. Well, it was by him, he was in the right place, but more so by Callum Wilson, because when the ball comes back to him on the rebound from the keeper, he can either, or was it even, no, I think it might have just come off the defender actually, he could either, lose his cool and just have a go for goal, and the keeper probably smothers it because he's that close to the keeper, or he can just dink it besides the keeper and Isak has a tap in, and that's what he did. It was really good from Callum Wilson to keep his head, keep his cool in that situation. It won Newcastle the game in the end. The one player for Newcastle who I thought had a really good game, there were some good performers like Joe Willock, Callum Wilson and Joe Linton. Fabian Schär as well came really close to scoring in the second half from a free kick when he took it unexpectedly. Like, nobody thought anyone other than Trippier would be taking it in that situation, but he hit the post, Schär, so really unlucky. The one player I was really impressed with is the one who sometimes gets a bit of criticism from Premier League fans in general for being in this Newcastle team because they don't think he's at the level. I thought Sean Longstaff had a brilliant game in midfield. In the first half especially, he was absolutely everywhere almost, it felt like. Covered loads of ground, got in some really good attacking positions, stopped Fulham from occasionally getting on the counter-attack as well. I thought he was absolutely brilliant and essential to the reason why Newcastle did win this game. He does give something to this Newcastle team. He gives a lot of energy for one, and I don't think he's as bad technically as some people make him out to be. I'm sure he's probably not the level of a Champions League team, but he's definitely good enough for Newcastle to be in this squad at least. It's not like when he plays he's a massive, weight on everybody else in his team's shoulders, but he's still a decent player. But yeah, a massive win for Newcastle in their pursuit of top four.